So something that I always hate to do is to write English essays. I get to my computer and I'm thinking, okay, I have to write about the film adaptation of this book into a movie that was made in 1972. And so I get to my keyboard and I start typing and just bullshit comes out of my fingers. I'm just throwing all this crap on the screen and I'm like, okay, is my teacher gonna buy this? Am I gonna get an A? I'm gonna get a B? I'm gonna get a C? And so then I go on BuzzFeed, I'm like, what's going on right now? And then I find, oh, top 25 things that engineers students always have to deal with while at Tech. And then I start reading, like, oh my gosh, this is so true. Oh my gosh. Of course, someone has mentioned a class that so casually, oh, this is the easiest class in the world. And then I'm thinking, that class, Calculus 3, that destroyed my GPA in my life. But after I click off BuzzFeed, click on Facebook for a little bit, see some new videos, see some vines, maybe a puppy falling off a wagon, I don't know, something crazy like that. And then after Facebook, go on Twitter for a little bit. Nothing really happening on Twitter. Facebook is better than Twitter. I know that, you know that. Then after that, normally I'll click on LinkedIn. Usually though, maybe about once a week for LinkedIn. I'm not really active on LinkedIn. And then I'll check my email. Zimber really sucks, by the way. After email, I finally get back to my essay, and then now I'm thinking, okay, got some distractions, I've taken a break, now the juices should be flowing. Now I should be typing away, now I should actually really be talking about, oh, this boy, his experiences, the shadows as it falls on his head, it explains this. And then I'm thinking, no, not tonight. So I go to my math homework, but my professor, Gang Chen, he's not real good. No, he's Asian, he's got an accent. I can't understand him really. We actually just got a test back, wasn't very good, or most of the class. So he assigns really hard homework. Takes a while to do. I don't really do it. But eventually, after about 4 in the morning, I have this list of bullshit, and I'm like, okay, let's just go to her class. Excuse me, let me just go to her office hours, have her tell me what I did wrong, and then now I'll get an A on the paper.
Good job. So I'll talk about 2 things that he really did well and 2 things for improvement. First thing that, as he mentioned earlier, using your whole body to give the speech, that was perfect, I think. You were so animated and enthusiastic that I really enjoyed your speech. And another thing was your facial expressions and your change in the tone. And I think it was very interesting and it kept me engaged throughout the speech. The way you gave some pauses, some sighs, and all those kind of different things that you added in the speech. So that was really good. Now, 2 things for improvement. I don't know about the volume, but when you just started your speech, you could have had more voice projection. So it was a bit hard for even me to just hear initially. But after that, you were good. So was volume fine?
I would say that I'm agree with Pratik. The volume definitely could have been projected. At some points, I really had trouble hearing what was being said. So definitely a key takeaway, definitely with Pratik. More projection.
And another thing, I think you did really good. I'm not sure of some other improvement that I could take.
Can we help him out with some? Yes, Kumar?
His ending needed some, he had to end with a bang because he ended with a nice twist, but it was still the same tone, kind of.
So very toned and everything. Yes, Karan?
Okay, so I felt your whole speech was a little fast. So if you could change your speed of delivery, so that you actually give the audience time to process something that you say that is humorous, maybe put a pause at the end or something like that. That's also where volume can play into pauses and volume to place emphasis on something that you've said, particularly humorous. But slow down a little bit, or change the pace from time to time. Just don't keep it consistently fast all the time.
Justin?
Yeah, I just want to say, I think props are a good thing, but I have to say I'm glad that you ditched the book, because once you ditched that book, your hand gestures became more dynamic. Now that said, props can be a good thing. Marty and I just saw a TED Talk where someone had a prop. He had a bottle of water. And when he walked up on that stage, I was thinking, oh no, why does he have a bottle of water? He spit like it, but what did he do with that bottle of water?
Dumped it on his head.
He dumped it on his head. So yeah, props can be your best friend and your worst enemy. If you can't really find a way to incorporate the book later in your speech, do what you did. Cast it aside and cast it aside early, because that liberates your hand gestures. Just the thing to keep in mind with props.
Yes, Monty?
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. You're a very certain kind of speaker, and I kind of like it. It's very energetic. You've got the motivation. It seems like you've got the energy that you need. But we mentioned projecting before, and I think in your case it's particularly important because you've got all this energy, but you don't really project. And if you do project, then you spread out the energy to everyone. I feel like you need to keep that in mind. In terms of hand gestures, they were fantastic, like you said, once you got rid of the book. Prompts are an amazing thing, but you don't want to overuse them. They have a tendency to get old sometimes. And other than that, keep up the great work.
Bradley, can you talk me through 10 seconds and just project to me?
Oh, sure. I was born in Los Angeles, moved to Toledo, Ohio when I was 5, and then came to Tech when I was 18 because I saw it on U.S. News and World Report, #2 aerospace school in the country. Really attracted me.
Yes, Trey?
So you have a disadvantage, as I do, in that you're a smaller guy, right? But you can hear me pretty clearly and very loud. The trick to that, and this is something they teach actors, they teach stage performers, it all comes from your belly. So when you're talking like this, you're speaking from your lungs, sure, but that's not very effective because it's hard to hear in the back of the room. Have you ever eaten a ridiculous amount of food, like gone to an all-you-can-eat place and just stuffed your belly? That's kind of the amount of air you need in you to project your voice as loud as I'm doing right now, completely unnecessarily, but to demonstrate. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a food baby, right, of air, and force it upwards all the way through your vocal cords, outwards. Boom! And it's all from here. You should feel your abs straining outwards when you're trying to project your voice. And it's something you can practice just by really shouting. But you can shout from your lungs. You can shout like this, I'm shouting. But if you're really going to shout, it should come from your belly. So try that. Speak again to the back of the room, but like,
From that
Boom.
diaphragm, that belly.
My name's Bradley, and I'm from Ohio. Toledo, Ohio.
feel your belly expanding.
My name's Bradley. I'm from Toledo, Ohio. Not much happens there except during election season.
I'm honest.
Yeah, just once again to continue on with what you said, and maybe you can follow through with me. If you remember the last speaker, it's kind of a short guy, probably the shortest guy in the lineup. He was the loudest guy there.
Yeah.
He was no doubt the loudest guy there. I was amazed the way he could project himself. And maybe he was a little too loud, really, but he wasn't shouting, he was projecting, which was fantastic. So you certainly can do it. You'd be surprised, like the effect it would have on the audience. Because when he projected, everyone just went still.
This guy did not need a microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was shorter than I was.
Yeah, it was amazing. So you'd be surprised at things that you could do if you really do manage to project as well as possible.
Caleb?
One thing I saw for improvement, I guess this works with projection as well, is when you're walking back and forth, you have the tendency to talk not towards the audience, but towards like left and right. And oftentimes that's when I saw or heard the volume just go a little lower, and I was like, I had to like reach a little harder to really hear what you were saying. But then like, I mean, once you like planted your feet, you know, you turn back, it was fine. But just like focusing on like always facing towards the audience.
So key next step. Next time, just project. Come speak by a diaphragm like you did.
Yell at the damn wall in the back. Is number
Yell at
one.
me.
And as Pratik pointed out as well, I would say, I mean, the voice projection is a big thing. And as Kumar said, end with a bang. You get a great opening, very structured in the beginning of your speech, in the middle, and then end with a bang when you close. I'd say that's good though.